Hi everybody, I'm Tina from Living Delicious Nutrish and welcome back to my kitchen. Today I'm showing you another recipe in my series of Mezethes or Mezethes, which is the Greek word for appetizers. This is the fourth in the series if you've been tuning in every week. The first week was dolmaves, which are the stuffed grape leaves. The second week was tarama salata, which is a very interesting, unique ingredient, tarama, which is a red caviar or fish roe, and the dip is made with the fish roe, and I paleotized it. And last week I showed you the Greek version of barba ganoush, and we stuffed some mini peppers with that as a fun way to serve it. And today I'm going to show you this unique interpretation of Spanako-patties. Spanako-patties is Greek spinach pie. It's typically a filling of spinach and different kinds of cheeses wrapped in phyllo dough that's layered with lots of butter. Of course, the butter doesn't work for me because I can't do dairy, and I've been really missing these, especially because the flaky, crispy dough on the outside is, of course, gluten. So this is my interpretation with no gluten, thanks to Michelle from Nom Nom Paleo. She makes egg foo young, and she uses spinach and ham and some Asian ingredients. And I just thought it would be really fun to try and do this just with the Greek flavorings, but kind of based on her recipe. So let's give this a go. And I just realized that there we go. I think you're following me now. Good. So we're going to start off with this recipe. I'm going to do half of the recipe, and you'll see it yields quite a bit. Now the sample that I just showed you is like a larger, something that you could serve as an appetizer, certainly, but more like a side dish. And this one that I'm gonna do today is the exact same recipe, but what I'm gonna show you instead is a smaller version that's like a 1 bite, maybe 2 bite kind of thing that's fun to serve as an appetizer. And also with my tzatziki sauce, which is made with Greek style almond milk yogurt. So again, keeping it dairy free. Now I can tolerate a little bit of feta. If you can see here, this feta, it's called Dodonis Feta, and it's the #1 selling brand in Greece. I get it at a store here locally. And feta is kind of like champagne, where if it's not really made in the Champagne region of France, it's just sparkling wine. Feta's the same kind of thing. It's a protected designation of origin. Feta needs to come from a specific region in Greece, and it needs to be sheep's milk. So if you're at the grocery store and you buy American feta from some company that's maybe domestic and they make it from cow's milk, it's just white cheese. And I think because it's sheep's milk, it's just a little easier for me to digest, so I can tolerate in small amounts. But if you want to keep it completely vegan and dairy free, this Violife feta is actually really good. I don't like to just eat it plain because it's not exactly the same. It doesn't have quite the same brininess, but I do love it mixed into recipes like this. So definitely give this a try if you want to keep it completely dairy free. I don't think anyone would notice the difference. So first we're gonna start with 3 eggs. The recipe calls for 6 eggs. I'm just gonna break my 3 eggs into this bowl. And I have some chopped spinach already thawing. I like to use frozen chopped spinach just for the convenience. This is an organic frozen chopped spinach. I just want to say hi to everyone that's joining me today. And also, this is an Ask Me Anything. So whenever I'm on cooking, feel free to ask me any questions about cooking techniques or maybe things that you like to prep, anything at all. Or even if you just want to know why my crazy brain thinks the way it does. So this is 3 eggs. The recipe calls for 6. And then to that, I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of coconut flour. The recipe calls for a half. Actually, you can use coconut or cassava. Coconut gives it a little more grainy texture. Cassava flour, I feel like, is a little smoother for the batter. This is gonna kind of look like pancake batter. So this is actually cassava flour. I'm just gonna sprinkle it over the top like that. And mix that in. Don't get a little too crazy or it starts to fly everywhere. And I'm using a wire whisk because it is liquid enough and can blend the flour into the eggs without creating lumps. You just don't want to have lumpy batter. Next, I'm going to add the spinach. I have 8 ounces of spinach thawed in this strainer, but I like to squeeze it out to make sure there isn't a lot of excess water. So I'll just take a handful like this and give it a squeeze. I think you can see what I'm doing over here, right? Yeah, there we go. So this is kind of the messy part, but it's a little fun too. And then I'm just gonna crumble it in so you can see how it's going in. And I'm gonna do that with all 8 ounces. I would hold my hands up a little higher, but it really does squirt liquid everywhere and I don't want green spots all over my kitchen. And it doesn't take much once it's thawed. You could definitely do fresh spinach if you prefer. You'd have to chop it up and saute it first or steam it so it doesn't have any extra oil. I don't mind the extra oil, but I don't want these to kind of get too greasy. And this is the last bit. Get it all out of that strainer. This is one of those double-walled strainers. Rinse my hands off a little bit. So the double-walled strainer always is difficult to get the spinach and other particles out of, but keep going. I'm just kind of mashing it in now, and I'll stir it together. Now, in the meantime, over here off to the side, I have this skillet going with some avocado oil, just 100% pure avocado oil. I love it for frying. It has a very high smoking point, and I only have maybe 1/4 of an inch in the bottom here. I don't like to deep fry things. This is gonna be more of a saute. So that's getting nice and hot. I'm gonna turn it up just a little bit so it's ready when we're ready to fry. Next, I'm gonna do a fun technique that I enjoy. I love onion flavor, but sometimes I don't want those big chunks of texture. So I just have an onion that I cut here and I'm gonna grate it with this box grater on the shred side. I like the way the pieces break down and cook faster. You still get that nice onion flavor and a little bit of onion juice without it being really strong or without biting into a giant chunk of onion. And this calls for 1/4 cup, so since I'm making a half a recipe, it's gonna be about 2 tablespoons. 4 tablespoons is 1/4 cup. And you can see it gets nice and liquidy. And there's my onion. Just gonna slide that right in here. And I like that little bit of onion liquid along with it. I'm gonna stir that in so it's nice and blended too. And next, I love my Paleo powder seasoning. I've talked to you about this before. This is AIP, which means autoimmune protocol. So if you're very strict with your Paleo diet, this is a really nice seasoning blend. It's very Mediterranean and I love it as an all-purpose seasoning blend. And then I also have some fresh herbs. You can do one or the other, or you can do both. I just already pre-chopped a little bit of oregano, dill, and parsley, and I'm gonna mix those right in. So rather than doing all dry or all fresh, I'm doing about half and half. And I love this seasoning also because the company is very careful with where they source their herbs and spices, and they never put in any caking agents or anything extra. So it gets a little stuck together, just, you know, blend it up with a fork or something. It's a lot better than eating all those chemicals that we don't need. So those are blended in. And now I'm just gonna put in the feta. I have a piece here. I'm just crumbling it with my hands. Don't buy crumbled feta, please. Crumbled feta is not even real. It's white plastic. It's no big deal to crumble it. Your fingers get a little messy, you rinse them right off. And I love my side towel. When I'm doing a lot of cooking in the kitchen, this is something that I adapted from working in a commercial kitchen. I just put a towel on the side of my apron, and I always have a handy place to wipe my hands. So now the feta's getting blended in. Last but not least, a little salt and pepper. Oh, and I did forget one ingredient. Don't I always? Salt and pepper to taste, and you can always season them again after they're fried. Finally, a little white wine vinegar. Just gonna do about a teaspoon of that. That just adds some nice acidity and helps balance out the spinachy taste. So this is ready to go. We can start frying. Now, you know I love my portion scoops. I want to show you some of the portion scoops that I have here. I use portion scoops for everything. Muffins, portioning out crab cake, anything at all. If you saw my video of the cinnamon swirl that I did over the weekend, I used this big scoop to portion out for each of the little mini loaf pans. I did 2 on the bottom and 1 on the top with the swirl in the middle. Everything comes out evenly baked. And now my burner's gonna have a fit. Maybe I left it on for too long and it's overheating. Okay, we'll try that again. So when I made these yesterday, the size that I showed you was with this size scoop, which is about 1.5 ounces. And you can go on Amazon and order a whole set of these, and each color represents a different size, and they come with a chart. Really simple to figure out. But today I'm gonna do these small ones because I think it would be really fun to have bite size. And I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to show you today because my burner doesn't wanna cooperate. Okay, I think we're gonna move everything over to the stove. Come with me, little tripod. Here we go. Let me grab the batter, get this burner going, and I'll be right back. There we are. Keep this nice and hot. It's already hot, so let's see if you can see what I'm doing here. I'll scooch it back a little more. There we go. Now you can see. I think you can see what I'm doing, right? Okay. Grab the scoop and my flipper. Can somebody invent one of these for left-handed people, please? This is going the wrong way. Okay, so I'm just going to scrape this down with my rubber spatula, with my silicone spatula, and make sure that it's got a good mix and everything's really well combined, and it looks like it is. I'm just going to scoop so it's a nice level portion scoop and drop it right into the oil. That sizzle says it's perfect. And then I'm just kind of flattening it a bit with the back of this portion scoop. You don't want to add too many at once and you don't want to overcrowd, but because these are small, we can get quite a few in here. And I'm just cleaning off the edge with my finger a bit to make sure that they're nice and neat. Now I am using a regular pan. It's not a non-stick pan. And you'll find, if you have the right amount of oil and you're patient, don't try and move them too soon, they won't stick. They're gonna form a nice brown crust and release from the pan on their own. And they will tell you when they're ready. So we'll start with about 6 of these. That looks like a nice amount. And not crowd the pan. I think you can see what's going on here, right? Yeah. My camera wants to follow me and not the pan, so I'll try and stay as close to the pan as I can so you can see what's going on here. Now, this one is already got a nice brown edge, and it's very simple to pick it up and flip it. Always flip away from you so you don't splash the hot oil on you. And try and remember the direction you went as you put them into the pan so you can do that same direction when you're flipping them. I think I had the middle one next. I'm gonna just turn this heat down a little bit because I don't want them to be too brown on the outside and uncooked in the center. And these really just take a couple seconds to cook. Maybe that wasn't even a minute on the first side, and they're ready to flip already. I'll get a little closer so you can see them. They look great, and they're so delicious because they have all that Spanako-patties flavor and seasoning without the phyllo dough on the outside. And honestly, one of the things that I dislike more than anything when it comes to Spanako-patties is they're only good right out of the oven. That's when they're the crispiest and the butteriest. And if you have leftovers and you try to reheat them in the oven, they're just not the same. And if you just eat them cold, I mean, they're good cold, but they're a little soggy. It's not quite the way we love them. They're best right out of the oven. These guys are delicious cold. They're great with the tzatziki sauce drizzled over the top. You can make a big batch of these. These are awesome for batch cooking. You can eat them for breakfast. I mean, they're really one of those, and packed with nutrients with that spinach. The flour is grain-free because it's a cassava. The dairy-free feta is perfect flavor enhancer, and all of those herbs, really delicious. I'm gonna grab some paper towels because I like to drain these a little bit on some paper towels. I have this platter here. Just gonna scoop them out. And you can see they're a beautiful color, both front and back. And because we're cooking in a healthy oil, I don't feel bad about frying. And I can cook the rest of these later. I'm gonna move you back with me over to the other counter again. Here we go. So now what I have is a little bit of lemon. I like to just hit these with a little fresh lemon juice as they come out of the fryer. This is a beautiful Eureka lemon, organic Eureka lemon. It barely fits in my lemon squeezer. Just gonna give them a little drizzle. And I'll take these paper towels off. They're so crispy on the outside, and that spinach is gonna just be so luscious on the inside. Another hit of some fresh Himalayan sea salt. Any kind of sea salt, that coarse Salt just gives it a nice little extra crispy finish. And my tzatziki, this recipe's been on the website forever. It's a staple here in my house. It's simply almond milk yogurt, garlic, grated cucumber, lemon juice, and some fresh dill. I'm just gonna put a little spoon in here. You can see it gets nice and thick. And when you refrigerate it, it gets even thicker. I'm just gonna, ooh, they're still nice and warm. Put a little of that tzatziki on top. So we can take a bite. You can see inside, they're fully cooked. They're nice and crispy on the outside. That tzatziki gives it a wonderful creamy finish. I'm gonna have to take another bite, sorry. I hate to talk with my mouth full. The nice acid from the white wine vinegar and the finish with the lemon juice. This is so simple and so delicious, and you can serve these with all of the other Mezethes that I've been showing you in the previous weeks. Really is a knockout and so simple. So I hope you try it. If you try it, be sure to tag me on Instagram here at Living Delish Nutrish, or on my Facebook page, Living Delish Nutrish. All of these videos are on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Couple of announcements before I go. All my local Floridians, my local Central Floridians, I should say, don't forget to come see me on August 26th. It's a Thursday night from 6 to 8 at the Edible Education Experience. It's the Kitchen House and School run by the Emeril Lagasse Foundation. I will be teaching a Reset with Real Food class. Should be very fun. The link is on my website, so feel free to go there and click on the link to order tickets. And also I'm enrolling for my Whole30 right now, so you can also find information about that on my website. And we will start September 1st with prep, and our first day will be September 8th. So I hope you can join me and we can do some healthy resets together. I'm so glad you could be here with me today. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again next week. Have a wonderful week, and feel free to DM me and ask me any questions. Have a great day.